Denver Post Broncos writer Ryan O'Halloran posts his Broncos Mailbag weekly during the season. You can pose a Broncos or NFL-related question for the Broncos Mailbag here. Follow Ryan for more daily updates on Twitter. Who are the top players will the Broncos pursue in free agency considering budget restraints? And with a new head coach, which side of the ball will get the most attention? Fred Brune, San Clements, Caliph. First, the Broncos should not have any budget constraints. They can create millions in salary cap space by releasing players, and there isn't a long list of their players they must re-sign. The knee-jerk comment is that with Vic Fangio being the coach, the Broncos will focus on defense. That is partly true. In the salary cap world, defensive players are more apt to jump teams in free agency since franchises allocate so much money to quarterback, left tackle, receiver, etc. But I expect the Broncos to also be active adding to their offense. What do you think about trading for Nick Mullens of the 49ers? He torched us this year and we got his quarterback coach as our offensive coordinator. They already have Jimmy Garoppolo and we could probably get him for a mid-grade pick. John Brandenburg, Roseville, Caliph. As I tweeted when Rich Scangarello was hired last week, his first priority should be figuring out a way to get Nick Mullens and Dwayne Haskins into his quarterback room. That is a long shot though. The Broncos will have to trade up from number 10 for Haskins. And we don't know if Mullens is even available. Jimmy G is coming back from an ACL injury and the 49ers may feel they need Mullens and CJ Beathard as insurance options for Garoppolo. With the acquisition of Rich Scangarello as offensive coordinator, do you see any chance of the Broncos trying to acquire Nick Mullens? Ben, Cedar Rapids, Iowa. See above. Ryan, love your work. Do you see any of the top quarterbacks in this year's draft as being someone who could become a cornerstone for the Broncos? I really like Kyler Murray, but I don't know how durable he will be at the next level. Marshall, Fort Collins. Thanks, Marshall. The Broncos should sign a cornerback in free agency, allowing them to use their first-round pick on a quarterback. Are there any sure things? No clue. But be it Haskins or Drew Lock or, after a trade down, somebody like Will Grier, it would be worth another kick at the quarterback can. Do you think the Broncos would be better off working to get a top offensive tackle or no? One cornerback in the first round rather than a quarterback? Then follow the same script as last year with talented quality kids on and off the field, focusing on defensive backs and offensive line in particular this year. They could stand pat with Case Keenum or try to get Teddy Bridgewater or Nick Foles and then get their QB in 2020's much richer QB talent pool. Mike H. Aurora. Mike has a solid plan to get the Broncos back on track. Some of the mocks out there have the Broncos taking a cornerback such as Georgia's DeAndre Baker in the first round. To me, that would only make sense if the Broncos addressed quarterback before the draft via free agency or a trade. As for the same script, my rub is that equal the 6-10 record, though I acknowledge they found some potentially good players in the draft. As for your point about waiting for 2020, that is too big of a gamble. Players may regress or get hurt. Your team may win more games than anticipated and play their way out of being in position to get a top passer. Ryan, I'm really excited about Mike Munchak joining our coaching staff. Do you think he'll be able to turn around our O-line this year or will this be a work in progress? Also, what do you think the line will look like next year? Outside of Matt Parody, I don't know who else deserves to be starting. James, Highlands Ranch. Broncos fans should be fired up about Munchak, which is being viewed around the league as a coup of a hire to coach the offensive line. Munchak has his hands full. It will be a total work in progress because the project could include several young players and a new center. As for the Week 1 2019 line, is anything established? I guess Garrett Bowles at left tackle, deserved or not. But that's it, and remember, Parody is a free agent.